Hey, up next on Live It Up, we have Lisa Navarra, and she is with Child Behavior Consulting. She's created her own, I guess, way of how to learn, and we're going to be finding out more right now. How are you?
I'm great, Donna. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Now, how did you start out? How did you start out, Lisa?
You know what? I started out as a teacher of basically emotionally disturbed children. And at a very, very quick time in that career, probably the first 6 months, I realized that no one really knows what to do with this challenging behavior. How do we really teach children to think about what they're doing and the impact that it has in their learning and their life then as they get older? So as I searched for support, it really wasn't there. The training wasn't there, and so I just took the initiative. I did my research, and I applied it with the children, and then it grew from there up until right now when I became the founder of Child Behavior Consulting, where now I work with educators, all school staff, and parents and children, and just across the board, and really helping children become the best that they can be.
And so you also are training the teachers. Like you just did a workshop recently. What was that experience like for you?
Oh, it was
big, right?
It was fantastic. Yes, it was Scope Educational Services, and it's the third year they've hired me for their annual Teacher Assistants Conference. And essentially they say, okay, Lisa, what are we going to do this year? So I said, these kids really need to learn the skills and how to learn rather than what to learn. Because we're always so focused on what's the curriculum. They need to know this. They have to be college ready. Well, how do you produce really good quality work when it's hard for someone to sit and to focus and to really process the words that you're saying? And so I said, okay, that means I need to empower these teacher assistants in this particular case in how do you learn? And so through that, it was a 3-hour conference. And as a matter of fact, I just spoke to about 3 people today in reference to it, and they said, oh, you were so engaging. But you know something? I don't think it's me. I think it's the information. Yes. I think it's the fact that they're missing this information. You see, when people are working with children and children themselves, we're all stuck with the symptoms. We see the behaviors, we see the struggles in learning, but where is it coming from? And what do we do? And so I think they appreciated having the information tied in with how important they are, and then tied in with the intervention. So it's fun.
In the research that I was doing with you, you know, you were talking about some statistics, and part of the group that you can help is like ADHD, oppositional defiance disorder,
sure,
right? And I told
sure.
you I even know people in my own personal life that have that, power struggles, things like this. So explain to me a little bit about how you can intervene on behalf of them and teach them how to learn. What are some of the steps in that population?
It's such a great question because honestly, it first comes with us.
Okay.
And if we're a parent or an educator, anyone working or loving a child, we first need to look at ourselves. And that's why I always say building the skills from the inside out to let the outside in.
What's so fascinating about you is that you actually invented, this is so much fun, we played with this the other day when we were meeting.
We did.
You created a toolbox,
yes.
Okay, a toolkit.
Right.
Okay. What is this? How does this work? They're all these like fun little flashcards.
Yes, and what they are
I'm
actually...
gonna hand them over to you because then
Okay.
you can kind of walk us through what you created.
Sure. Well, they're cue cards, Donna, and it's to get children how to learn, not what to learn. Because once they can receive that information, then they're ready to feel great about all their skills. So it's not an academic system at all.
Okay.
Perception. It's important to realize how we're feeling, and children at 5, 6, 7 years old have given up. And when they give up and they avoid work or they guess, who are they giving up on? They're giving up on themselves, right? So they need to know how they're feeling. They look at a piece of paper that they have the skills, but maybe they have ADHD and what's called their executive functioning or self-regulation is at a deficit, then it's harder for them to remember information they need to apply. So the first thing's, oh, I can't do it, and they walk away. So they need to know how they're feeling.
Okay, so this card, then you would sit down and work with a family. You would work on a student one-on-one, right? They could hire you, and you would sit down and find out what their needs are. So this little card here is perception, and it's a well-known symbol of like the old lady or the young lady. What is it that you see? Right?
Exactly. The optical illusion really teaches them that there's 2 ways of looking at one picture. And it's the same thing when they are presented what they consider to be challenging. I have the choice. I can see it as challenging and I give up, and then those are my consequences to be found later. Or I know it's difficult, but I have a place to go when I just don't know. And that's what these tools are. They're verbal and visual prompts. Okay, I'm not sure what to do, but hold on, because I've got my reading cue card, or I've got my look to listen to learn card, you know, tool. And
so this one right here is one that you've created.
Sure.
So it's called Look to Listen to Learn.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Okay. So what you're doing then is you're customizing it. It's the same toolkit, but each individual person is going to use these tools in a different way.
You've got it.
Okay.
That's the most important part, because everyone feels differently about themselves as a learner, as a person. And the best that we can do for children is to teach them to learn about themselves and empower themselves just by giving them the support.
Very, very cool. How can people engage with you? How can they learn more? How can they work with your workbooks? How can they get to know you?
There's so many different ways.
Okay.
I can go to the schools. They can hire me for professional development, consultations, workshops. And essentially, if it comes to behavioral learning, under that umbrella, I've got the tools. And so that's what the fun part is, because then I learn what the person's needs are or the organization's needs are. And as long as it is helping to build the skills of the children and the adults working with them, then it's fun and it's engaging. And in another way is they can come to my office and then we work one-on-one. I have a family now, and it's 4 siblings and 2 parents. I've got a mom and a child, you know, so it really varies, whatever the family's needs are and the education needs are.
And you're seeing success, and that success in others is what fuels you. You're so passionate and so wonderful. I just love knowing you. It's so cool. Can you share with us like just one of your brief, most recent successes?
One of my brief successes, well, it would depend. Do you want to know about a child? Or,
sure, give me that one. The one that comes first to your mind, something that lights you up on the inside.
Oh my goodness, okay. I have this one little girl, and every morning she says, I'm going to use my tools. And at the end of the day, she says, she plays a game. And she goes, I spy Henry, I spy the caring tree, and then I never give up. And she's just internalized all of these skills.
Wow.
And she's the type of student who was so hard on herself, where if she wasn't perfect, and she's 2 years behind academically, she would cry and put that pressure on her. I said, no tears. You just have to do the best that you can do. And now you have a place to go and you just don't know. So she's actually working through her frustration tolerance and her willingness to change her perception that her best is really the best that she can do, and she should be proud of that. And so to me, for a child to really internalize these tools, because these are lifelong skills,
yeah,
that to me is a success.
I'm taking your launch card.
Go for it.
Launch it. Woo! All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've been visiting with Lisa Navarra. To find out more, go to her website. We hope this helps you launch a great attitude today.